Today I would like to tell you something about cannabis, the wonderful plant. Why the wonderful plant? Most people know cannabis as a drug and that's it. They have no other idea about this. But cannabis is far more useful and has been used for mankind, by mankind for centuries, if not thousands and thousands of years. I have come to know cannabis during a visit in a cannabis maze. Sounds strange, but cannabis grows to be 3 to 4 meters high, and this farmer has cut ways through the cannabis, and of course because the plant is so high, you were engulfed by this very soft fluttering leaves and by a very nice fragrance. Anyway, I was extremely impressed because at that time I had never seen a cannabis plant, let alone smoke anything or of such kind. Now in Europe we use cannabis for the fiber and the chives. The fiber are the long stringy parts of the plant that surround the shaft, and the chives are the sort of wooden parts that give the tall plant its stability. When I thought about using cannabis as a juice, I was thinking about using the leaves of it that can be stripped off. In fact, there are harvesting machines that strip off the leaves. And also you can use the upper part of the plant where the flowers are, where the ripening seeds are, and they contain most of the ingredients that you would like to have. Now, there's lots of information on the use of cannabis as an industrial plant for the use of its fibers and the chives. So I want to say that my use of pressing juice out of it, which is about 3 tons per hectare of cannabis field, maybe also 4 or 5 tons depending on how much you cut off from the tops and how hard you press. It's a lot of cannabis juice that can be gained. At the same time, the rest of the stem is used as always for industrial uses. So making cannabis juice is an actual additional value added for the farmer and also, of course, for us as consumers. Now, from the plant, they use also the beautifully fragrant flowers when they are in bloom for fragrances in all sorts of industrial and consumer products. I would like to tell you something about the wonderful plant and the ingredients that you may not ever heard of that are present in cannabis. It's not just a drug, believe me. It's not just the one psychoactive cannabinoid that is called THC. There are about 60 or even more cannabinoids or cannabidiols as specific ingredients in cannabis. They find receptors in our human bodies, which is very interesting. Now, in cannabis, you have in the juice anyway, as I had done research on, you can find lots of minerals in very many in good quantities. You find vitamins. What you also find is a high number of polyphenols. Polyphenols are secondary plant materials, and actually they are also called antioxidants. Cannabis juice is very rich in those antioxidants. The proteins that you have in cannabis all 20 proteins are present, and from the 8 essential proteins that we need for our body to perform its functions, we have sizable amounts in cannabis. Then the idea is, next to the polyphenols and the vitamins and the minerals and the cannabinoids, and next to those you can also use the stem or the press remnants from after pressing the juice to make a product that is known as bioplastic, because you can make lactic acid from the press remnants. I would prefer to use the press remnants for us humans as fiber added to our intestines and the food to our diet. That is to say, in short, pills for dietary fiber. But you can also use it as cow feed, the press remnants, as well as for this other industrial use that is not so well known so far, and I hope that we use not so much plastic from oil out of our earth, but plastic from lactic acid that cannabis press remnants or the stems can be turned into. So you have the juice for human consumption, you could have cow feed, you could have lactic acid, you can have fiber for people, and of course all the industrial uses that cannabis is known for centuries. This is why I call it the wonderful plant, and my intention is to keep it as in its entirety for our use, and not just concentrate on extracting something out of the wholeness of it when I talk about cannabis juice. It turns out that we did some research on extracts instead of pressing the juice from the plant freshly. In extracts, there were only about 10% of the ingredients is present than you can find in the juice. So I think this speaks for itself. Why be content with only 10% of what cannabis can give you if you can just take the juice and have it all? Now, this is why I call cannabis the wonderful plant.